Good morning. Good morning. Um, so because something came on my notification bar and it's irking my nerve. So I'm really speaking to my community, which is the African American community, aka the Black community. Um, I'm gonna talk about these generational curses. Before y'all can start talking about break these generational curses and cycles, yada 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 yada. I think it's important for you to dig into your own family history first to even see if you have a curse on you, to even see if you can find out where it came from, because you have to first figure out where it came from, um, in order to kind of break it. I mean, it'll be in you. God will put it in you because He created you, so He'll put it in you to know that you are that generational curse breaker, but also you have to do your homework in your history to know how to beat it, who it is, what it is, yada, yada, yada. For Black folks, for any minority, and minorities, as we know, are African Americans, Native Americans, Mexican Americans, the Indian Americans that come here, whether, they're immigrants or they get here legally, what have you, and then the Asian community, which is India and China. So we'll just say Asian community. All of those, all of us, we're all minorities. We're all the same in their eyes. And when I say them, they, and their, y'all know who I'm talking about. Um, if you if you're not doing your history searches and you're not trying to date back to when and find out family history ties and all this and all that, you're not going to be able to really break a generational curse. I mean, you can start it, but I feel like in order to really truly break it, you have to know where it came from so you can get to the source and break that source, break the connection from that source. Now, like, I'm going to go back to all of our minorities. As we know, there's one set of group that put all the rest of us beneath them when we weren't even beneath them. We were literally next to them, minding our own little business. Look at a map of the world. Don't focus on the waters. Don't focus on the seas and the oceans, but focus on the actual land part and look at a map, and then you will see that the world is just one big old puzzle piece that has just been strewn everywhere. Okay, if you put that world together, you'll see where certain countries and continents, where the continents, because they broke up the world into continents, if you push them continents together, you literally get the whole entire world back together. You'll see where everyone was placed, and then you'll see where everyone was displaced at. So anyway, do that on your own time. But my main message is minorities, especially the African Americans and the Native Americans, because that's really who they stole from. Um, if you take a look at Africa, you'll see at the top of the crown of Africa is where Egypt sits. But if you look above Egypt, you'll see that that's where Europe sits. Okay, so if you're following along, you can kind of see what I mean. It wasn't hard for them to get a hold of us. It really wasn't. They just had to go over the next country, the next continent. It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard for them to get to South America either, because if you take Africa and you push it over to South America, it fits perfectly right next to South America. India is literally connected to Africa, and so is China. It's through India, whatever. Those people that call themselves discovering land, even though they already knew it was there, um, those are the ones that learned minority spiritual ways. They didn't discover anything. They went around seeking and learning and getting information, such as a narcissist does, befriending you, but really is a monitoring spirit or just trying to get information to see how they can throw shit on you, back on you. So these people learned our spiritual ways. They learned our religions, yada, 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 and then put it back on us. White folks, they know voodoo practices, hoodoo practices, all them things that we know in our communities, they know it too because they learned it. They made sure they learned it so that way they could put what? Those generational curses on us. Okay? I feel like the black community especially thinks that the black community put their own curses on them. No. The people who thought that they could have us forever up under them put those curses on us and our lineages and our bloodline. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna run it down. I don't really care if anyone believes me or not, but I did my research on my family, my ancestry, and I got as far back as some great great grandparents and learned a whole bunch of stuff. And one of the things I learned is I have a white great grandfather who married a black woman. I was in the times of like the 1800s, a little bit after, I guess, slavery was abolished or whatever. So these white men and women, because women was doing it too, women were slave owners too, plantation owners too, white women. When when slavery became illegal, they had to find a different way to still keep black folks and Native Americans and all of them still captive. And they did that through sharecropping and things like that. But some of these white folks got smart and they said, well, might as well marry one of these. And they married them. Some of them had babies. And those babies, which they called mulattoes, had babies. And so on. And then, down the generations. So as I'm thinking about that and I'm knowing that that's all that, that's what happened. I'm a 90s baby. So I look back and I'm like, wow. If you look back from the time that they started the slavery to this very year of 2024, you will see what some people might think are coincidences. But those are literally the generational curses. You just think that the 80s and the 90s was just spoiled by drugs and things like that and they blame it on the black communities. No, how did they get there in the first place? So while the black community and any other community that's outside of the white community, while y'all sitting there rushing up their butts, trying to be like them, trying to have monies like them, and trying to have houses and cars and businesses and yada 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 like them, you just falling into more of the generational curse. That's what they want you to do, stay up under them so they can take from us. Life is energy. It's about energy. It's not really of this flesh that we walk in. We're so flesh bound and so superficial that we think that life is about material things and having all of this success and money. A lot of people believe that you're not successful if you don't have an education. You're not successful if you don't have money. Child, bye. Our ancestors didn't really have much, and look at what they did. Look at what they did. But look at us out here now. We're, we all up under the white man butt, trying to be like him. Why are we trying to be like him? We just putting ourselves more and more into the generational curses that they put on us. The way you break that is to go about your own way. You don't have to go and do what the white man said in society. To me, I feel like that's just an option or it's just a suggestion. You don't have to live like that. And another way that they got us in their generational curses is those churches that they created. Y'all remember them churches? The churches that we flock to and we need help and Jesus and God. Child, the church is also a generational curse. Because what did the white folks do? Who was his name? Nat Turner. We don't speak about him a lot because we're too busy thinking about MLK. And to me, the first MLK was Nat Turner. Because yes, he was only doing the duty of his master, which was to read the Bible the way the master wanted it read. But when he really started reading the Bible and understanding it, he was trying to tell his people, bro, these people putting a curse on us. They're not even reading this right. They're not even doing it right. And what did they do to that man? They tore him apart and burned his body. But that was after he rebelled. That was after many of our ancestors rebelled against the white folks and they had their little battle. So y'all gotta do y'all history. Y'all gotta really do y'all history, black folks, minorities. I'm just talking minorities in general, but really I'm talking to my black folks because it seems like black folks is just We're just not learning about these generational curses. And I feel like it's just us that's learning about it. And I feel like that's why the other minorities don't really say too much, is because they know their history. They're aware, but they're not, I guess I feel like they're not really tripping. Because although they took from them too, I feel like they took mostly from Africa, which is true. And then another thing is, we need to start bringing up Haiti more. The fact that we keep Haiti out of a lot of stuff, when Haiti was a part of the slave trade and a part of making this country, but we don't give them no type of acknowledgement unless some type of disaster happens. I just need black folks and all folks that are not of that side to really think about your lineages, think about your bloodline, think about your history. Put that ancestry, if you don't want to pay for the plan, put that 14-day trial to use and work them 14 days out and find what the fuck you can find, y'all. That's why I felt some type of way when COVID hit. These motherfuckers that sit in a lab and make a disease up and put it in the air. You see how they were so quick to blame China, and China said, "Child, by that, not us." They fixed their shit like right after the COVID came out. China was the first one to fix their situation. It was America who was the last one to finally get it and comprehend what was going on. But that's because America is the one that put the disease out there. I don't care what anybody say. That was a horrible ass disease that they put out. And at first, remember who it caught? It all caught all the old folks, all the elderly. It caught first, which was most of our living ancestors. I think that the elderly are ancestors, even though they haven't passed yet. They're still ancestors because they're on their way to transition to such. And what happened? They transitioned, and now they're our ancestors, right? And then what happened? A whole new generation of babies were born, right? I believe in reincarnation. I believe that our ancestors come back. I believe that I am one of my ancestors. I found a picture of my grandmother, one of my great grandmothers on my father's side, and she had I think she had 2 daughters and 3 boys, and she also took care of her niece. But she was married to a black man before she married my white great great grandfather or whatever. But I was looking at the picture, and her daughter that was in the back of her. I, on everything, y'all, I feel like I look like that girl in the picture. The eyes, the face, the everything. Like it really scared me how much alike that I was. I was like, oh, why do we resemble each other? So that lets me know that it's not just genetics that make you look like a person. Our ancestors really do come back. So taking it back to COVID, when all the babies were born in 2020, 2021, I had a COVID baby 2021.